A lot of people ask me how business is going these days. And generally from Fairfax, during one of the recesses, asked me that very question. And she says, "You've been hit hard by that?" I said, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, we have. I guess to a degree, sales are down, or you look at the month-end numbers and you see negative numbers where you haven't seen them in a long time." And she goes, "Well, that's pretty bad." As a matter of fact, we've lost 500 accounts just in the last 6 months. And when you're down here, as Delegate Hogan and Delegate Fralin have pointed out to us, the toll is significant. But when you get a call from back home and the decision's been made to lay off people, it's gut-wrenching, because the families that are impacted by that decision. It's not just the fact that you're cutting payroll to make budget. It's the fact that a guy's got to go home and tell his kids he got laid off. And you know these people. And it hurts, because it wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault. We've had to do that. We've had to make those tough calls. And there's not a business in this country and in this state who wants to make that call, who wants to look at someone across the table and say, "I'm sorry, we have to let you go." But what we were able to do is to provide them with benefits to make sure that their family was taken care of. That's our moral obligation as an employer. And we're proud of what we do. We pay the entire health insurance premium for the entire family, and always have. We believe it's a moral obligation as an employer. Businesses would like to hire more people. That means their business is growing. We've never had to do that at our company, ever. And we started as a mom and pop. My mom and my pop. Mom was on the bottling line. I was on the forklift. Sisters were upstairs answering telephones, and we're now over 50 employees. Well, not 50 anymore. It hurts. It's a pride factor. It's a dignity in working that you can't match with an unemployment compensation check. There's a dignity to working, to going to work and producing something. And we've lost that debate on this one. The businesses in this state want to hire. It is more difficult to do so when you tax us more. Business is bad, it's a little down, but I also told the gentle lady from Fairfax, I said, but we're expanding into new markets. We're looking at different things. We're becoming innovative. And you know what that takes? That takes capital. That takes risk. And if you take our capital and you reduce our risk and our ability to get out there and make those investments, we can't hire more people to create the revenue that makes the engine of this economy run. We are small business. If you put this yoke on us in the future, we can't even begin to try to hire part-time people. We had the other day in the office, I was sitting there and a lady came in who used to work for us and has a couple kids, not by the same father, trying to collect money from those guys. She just got laid off, and she came in to see if we had a job. And we said, "Sorry, we don't." And I see a steady stream of people coming into our front office, filling out applications for employment. And you look down at them, and they're filling out the application, and you know there's nothing there for them, but they're trying. They're good, hard-working people who want to get back to work. And when we told that lady that we didn't have anything for her, her eyes started to well up. Because you knew it just hurt. She said, "Anything part-time?" No. And for many people, part-time is the first time, it's the first step on the ladder to getting a full-time job with full benefits. That's the reality. That's what we deal with in the business world every day. And when I look at the number of chambers and commerces who are not supporting the governor's position on this, it's for a reason. Businesses want to get back to business, and they want to do it long term. We want to be in business for a long time and hire more people and expand and grow. And it seems like today in society, being a for-profit company has a certain negative connotation, except when the economy goes south. Then you want business to start back up again. I've never understood that juxtaposition, but that's just the reality in the culture today, it seems. It's bad to make a profit. don't understand that, because that's what we do to hire other people with. You know? Help businesses get people back to work. Please don't adopt these amendments. It will hurt Virginia in the long run. Make the tough decision if you have to, but the right one, even as the Martinsville-Henry County Chamber of Commerce apparently hasn't communicated to its delegation appropriately, they don't support this either. I hope you will reject the governor's amendments.
Gentleman from Lancaster.
Mr. Speaker, I'd ask if my friend, the gentleman from Stanton, would yield for the purpose of a question.
Gentleman yield.
I yield.
Gentleman yields.
Mr. Speaker, I'd ask the gentleman and preface my remarks by saying it's admirable how they provide health insurance. What's the approximate cost of health insurance for an employee with a family? $1,000, $1,200 a month?
Yeah, well, the experience models have come down quite a bit in Virginia because of frivolous lawsuits, to answer the gentleman's question, because that's come down quite a bit. Health savings accounts have helped us out quite a bit, which our employees love, by the way. So you're roughly talking about $1,000 a month.
Follow-up question, Mr. Speaker.
Will the gentleman yield?
Yield.
Gentleman yields.
Would the gentleman not agree with me that the cost of this program would be $4 per employee per year after the after the funds run out in 6 to 15 years, whatever it is?
I honestly haven't looked at any of the actuarial outtakes on that. I do know that some of the estimates that I've heard are doubling the tax on businesses for employers to be involved in the program going forward, and that kind of tax can be kind of punitive, in my estimation. But you know, I think we're still missing the point here, as far as taking these numbers and saying, well, it's just this much and this much. It never works out that way. And the gentlelady from Richmond City said it's going to, you know, for every dollar we take into our unemployment or expend in unemployment insurance, we get $1.64 back. I don't know how economically that works. Okay, so I'm trying to get away from the actual dollars and cents here and get more to a human factor and how we get people back to work. And you don't burden, if it didn't cost that much, businesses wouldn't mind. Okay, but the bottom line, it comes down to us to pay the tab. And put people back to work.
Further question, Mr. Speaker.
I yield.
Will the gentleman yield? Gentleman yield.
Regarding the human factor, for somebody who just wants to work, and work being the greatest ethic, the ethic upon which this country is built, and who has a part-time job because they're trying to feed their family and is laid off through no fault of their own, at-will employment still being protected in the Commonwealth, is there any reason why that person should go home and when they look their child in the eye and says, I lost my job today, and not only that, we might not eat next week? For $4 an employee a year, is there any reason why we should not support that policy?
Mr. Speaker, I would say that the policy adopted by the Commonwealth is 60 weeks. And what you're going to find in response to that is that not only will they try to find work and do a lot of other work under the table for cash, but that cash won't be taxed and put back into the system. That's the reality in the marketplace.
Further question, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman yield.
I yield.
Gentleman yields.
But the gentleman would not agree unless we vote affirmatively that that person who wanted the dignity of a job, albeit part-time, who's laid off, unless we pass this, will not receive unemployment compensation.
I would say to the gentleman that after 60 weeks, or we're talking about part-time employees. I would ask for clarification of the question. We're talking about full-time employment or part-time employment?
Part-time.
Part-time employment. Businesses, in response to that, won't take the initiative to offer part-time employment for fear of paying that tax.
I thank the gentleman.